Hi, everybody. We're going to start in a minute here. All right, they're coming in hot. Ed Brown's got the summer tan working, I'm noticing. I don't know if that's a good thing. All right, everybody, we're going to start here in about 30 seconds. You're on the Big Joel community call every other Monday, except for the every other Monday, the last Monday, almost every other Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific. I do see we have Pacific people on here, so a bunch of people still coming on. We'll start in about 30 seconds. Welcome, everyone, especially all you people with your cameras on. Mark Wilkins, look like you got a nice little, is that a little shore burn you got working there, or is that just the camera today?
Yeah, shore burn.
Shore burn, exactly. All right, I like to see it. It's the summer. Look at that. I got Kristen. Always happy to have Kristen on. Mr. Allen, Mr. Gaffin, John Coley, Mr. Gormastic. Haven't seen you in a while. All right. Okay, everybody, we're going to get going. I got a special guest today who is extremely busy, and I want to make sure we stay on time. This is the Big Joel community call, 2 p.m. On Mondays, every other Monday, and that's Eastern, and 11 a.m. Pacific, and all those time zones in between. I'm seeing all those time zones that are they're all represented right now. We're in the, we'll call it the dog days of summer. I think the true dog days of summer is August 1st, but we're coming up on that real soon. I got a special guest today, Mr. David Lazowski. He has been on with me before, and I thought it was great to have him back on again today, just to talk a little bit about where the market is. He works with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and he is the East Coast president, housed in the Northeast, and does a lot of work up there in the Northeast. So I see a bunch of people on here, a bunch of Fairway people on here, which is great. A tiny bit of housekeeping. Number one, this is being live streamed on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all over the place. So if you're watching there, welcome. And I can't see you, welcome. We usually don't use the chat in here when I'm talking. Sometimes we do. If your camera's on, you can wave your hand if you'd like to ask a question or join in the conversation. And also, all of these calls are turned into audio podcasts. They're usually put up within a couple of days of the call, and you can find them wherever you consume podcasts. So welcome, everyone. If it's your first time on the call, I'm Joel Epstein, and I'm glad to have you with us. Interesting. I think a lot of people had a pretty good June from what I'm hearing. There's some of you on this call that I can see right now that have actually been having a pretty good month every month, and you're probably continuing to have a good month because you've been doing the core activities. You've never taken your foot off the gas. You're probably extremely aggressive and what I call a serious grinder. All of those people are cruising through this, what we'll call an extremely tough market. I just recently recorded some new podcasts in the studio. There's some people on here right now that I've got great recordings with. James Allen is one of them, which will be coming out real soon. And there's some great interviews about this market as well. What I want to say to you all before I engage Laz here, by the way, I call him David Lazowski. It's probably the first time he's heard his whole last name in a long time. He's really Laz, David Laz. Everyone knows him as Laz. You can't put, get down in the dumps in this kind of market. You've heard me say this before, but I just want to be very clear about this. Your income right now, or you could call it your production, go ahead and add 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 6 months of 23. Go ahead and add all that together. And that's 66 months. Divide it and then multiply times 12. That's your income. If you think your income is what you made in 2021, you're probably in a bad mood and very upset every single day. You should not be thinking that way. While that was a great market and allowed a lot of you all to put away a lot of money, hopefully you didn't spend it all on Airbnbs and new Corvettes. That was not reality, and I don't think we're going to see anything like that anytime soon, even though there are some people on this call that I can tell you are producing at a purchase unit level very close to or almost the same as 2021. A couple of them have their cameras on right now. I can see them, and I know they are because I'm familiar with their production. So I just want to tell you, this is a full-on grind market. If you are not grinding right now, someone else in your market is, and they're grinding harder than you, and they're trying to take any relationship you have with referral partners, and they're going to take it and they're never going to give it back. Okay. And you need to understand that if you're sitting in your office waiting for something to change, or maybe praying for something to change, I don't think that's a good idea at all. Okay. And I want to welcome David Laz, on the call with me today. And David, what do you tell me what you're seeing out there? I know you have a lot of loan officers in your group. Everyone's talking about no one's profitable right now, and everyone's got to cut this and cut that. And most companies have cut down probably about as low as they can cut, or they're pretty close to as low as they can cut. And now it's kind of the strong survive right now. What are you seeing, David? Just at a high level, what are your best loan officers? You look at, every day, I know you're looking at numbers. Your best people, what are they doing every day? Your top 5, 10%. What are they doing, or what have they never stopped doing? Tell everyone on this call, what your people are doing.
The best. Hey, Joel. Thank you.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. Love being on your show. The best people are all grinding. We know that. Some of the best people are on this call right now. And they're just grinding. They're just doing the work. And they're controlling their attitude. And that is probably the biggest thing that people that I'm seeing that are succeeding are doing. They're not listening to any of the noise. They're controlling their own attitudes, and they're positive. And they continue to be positive through a difficult market. And that's what you need to do. You don't have a choice but to be optimistic. So there's two types of things that we're seeing, Joel. You mentioned volume. Let's just assume we might have peaked in June for volume for the year. That could be the case, depending on where you are in the country and where you're located. And what people have gone through, whether you're a loan officer with a team or you're a branch manager with a larger team, you have been forced to align with the expenses that are out there, right? So even if you have an LO with a team and you're spending money on X, Y, and Z, you've been forced to look at your expenses and align it with your volume. For those of you that have volume up, great, no problem. You're easier to be said than done. But if you've been in this market for a prolonged period of time, you've been forced to align your expenses with the volume. So that's one thing we're seeing people go through on whatever level you're at, right? As I said, doesn't matter if you're a loan officer that has a small team, a branch with a larger team, or a larger branch. You have to have done that. And companies have done that. Some have done it earlier than others. Some are still doing it right now. So that's one thing we're seeing in the marketplace. But the 5 or 10% that are still crushing it, Joel, they're controlling their attitude and they're doing the work.
So not to make this a session in psychology, but that's kind of sort of where we are. And Laz, I'm going to agree with you. I'm a fortunate guy. I get to talk to the best loan officers in the country every day, and the best real estate agents every day. And it really is an attitude thing. And you need to really check yourself if you don't get up every morning and say, I am in the best business there ever was. Okay. And if some of you all are saying, oh, Joel, stop it. You don't understand. You don't know. Yes, I do. I do know. I do understand. You are in the greatest business there is. Maybe the only better business would maybe be selling real estate, but it's basically the same as far as what your hourly rate can be and the fact that there is no cap on your income. Okay. Yeah, stuff goes up and stuff goes down. All right. Right now, maybe, stuff is down a little bit. Who cares? Put your head down and grind. I'm telling you, I don't want to call anyone out on this call. There are loan officers on this call that I know are closing more than 35 units in July. I know they are. Okay. Because I've seen their stuff. All right. And by the way, some of these people aren't in tiny little markets. And I do understand that the markets with the lower average sale prices are cruising along a little better right now than the markets with the high average sale prices. I get it. But I also know loan officers right in those markets that are still killing it. So there's no excuse to say, oh, there's no inventory. Oh, there's no this, there's no that. I get it. The bottom line is it's time for you to get it. And when I mean get it, I mean, LFG, let's go. Okay. Let's not mess around. Now, the other thing, as part of your attitude, some of these things are readjustments. In the past, I just want to put this out there for you all so you can be thinking if this hasn't affected you yet. The way loan officers, lenders, let's call it lenders, large mortgage companies, the way they looked at their dollars and cents, the way they looked at their P&L is based on, gross in, period. What are you making per loan? The reality of it is forget about whether there's a lot of loans or little loans. Mortgage bankers are making less per loan right now, period, end of discussion. Okay. Loan officer comp was adjusted up as lenders were making more. And now lenders are making less, but most loan officer comp really hasn't been adjusted at all, which means what?
I'm going to interject.
Go ahead.
Something. I think this is, if we're keeping it real, and people on this call some will agree, some might disagree. You're still in price wars, right? And you're still, even though LO comp has not officially been adjusted, it's been adjusted. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. All right. There are people just doing what they need to do to get deals right now. So you might be at 100, but you're doing some deals at 40. I'm sorry, you are. You are doing some deals lower than your comp, and your effective comp has gone down. There's just less revenue. I
totally agree with you. Yeah.
And I get it. We're all being squeezed. And this is what I mean about attitude. The definition of a tough market is people don't make as much money. And it's not going to be fair for your company to continue to lose money. They have to spread it out. And you hate to hear this, and maybe people don't want to hear this, but that's the reality. For you to compete in this market, you're going to need to, on some loans, go lower. And I'm sure everyone on this call, to some extent, is doing that.
Yeah, so, Laz, you're going right where I was going. What I was going to say is the old ways of doing stuff, it's just, it's not the same. Meaning internally, once you have the unit, it's just not the same. I mean, there are people that were closing 12 units, 14 units a month with 3 LOAs on their team. And where that came from, I don't even know.
Hey, I'll tell you, it came from people like me. I made mistakes. When I just produced, I had 2 LOAs, and that was it. And that was the model. And that can be the model if the volume's there. But when the volume's not there, it can't be the same model. 1, 2, 3, 4 loans a month, you could do it all yourself. There's no leverage in that. There's leverage when you're getting to 8 to 10 to 20 units. That's when you need the support. But we're stuck, right? We think we need the support at 3 units. We don't. The cost to manufacture a loan has never been higher than it is today. That's one of the things we all have to come to grips with. A company does, a team does, a loan officer does. So, we're all being squeezed. At the end of the day, we're all being squeezed, and we have to realign what it is, what we mean by doing the work.
That's where I was going, Laz. What I was going to say is, and I bet you're going to tell me your best people are doing this, but you know, over the boom years, loan officers would get a name and a number and throw a piece of paper at a little staff and have them do all the work. The best loan officers right now are literally licking and sticking their files. They do not have any conditions coming out of underwriting because there's less underwriters. Okay. They're following a system, or maybe a system like my BIC system, whatever it is. They are docking their files up front, and they're really realizing, you know what? I never really even needed all those bodies. I was just doing it in a very sloppy way. And so what I wanted to throw in there, where I was going, Laz, with this is the best LOs aren't even being affected by the fact that there are maybe rifts in the closing department and the underwriting department, because their files are being picked up first, and their files don't have any conditions on them. So the quality, you know, this is a big thing, Laz, and I would love to, you know, hear your opinion on this. You know, loan officers in general, because of the way we've hired them and trained them over years, you know, a lot of them have never even really been trained properly what their job is up front. And now are in a lot of pain, even trying to close 3 loans because of the way they're originating the loans.
Hey, listen, I couldn't agree with you more. And for those that have the business, I'm okay with a name and a number if you have 50 loans that you actually have to do and you need help. But that's not the case for most of us. You need to take a high quality file. Here's what happens though, Joel, and I've seen this, and I have a new stat to share with you. Last time I shared people that weren't renewing their license, but how many people, Joel, have taken what's going on in this environment and changed teams because they're frustrated and they're not looking at their own businesses, but they think there's something else going on. So here's an interesting stat. 80,000 NMLS numbers have changed. That means 80,000 folks, that's including banks, and there could be some stuff going on, but talk about changing teams. That's what's happened. 80,000 NMLS numbers have turned over this year. That's an incredible number.
So since January 1, and you know, Laz, the era of the large signing bonus is over. So they didn't move for a big paycheck. So that's, it's very interesting. And Laz, it makes sense with what I'm seeing. I tell people all the time, I appeal to maybe 2, 3, maybe 5% of the LOs, because a lot of them will just get mad at what I'm saying or say I don't know what I'm talking about or whatever. I do see, Laz, this frustration. I just had a phone call today actually with a leader at another company, with a Laz at another company, who was saying, a couple of loan officers, whatever, are frustrated with some changes. And really, refuse to look at themselves like they're just not guilty.
That's exactly it. No matter where you work, look within first. It's not the company typically, it's the person. The company's doing what they need to do to survive. They're providing you with what they can to align expenses with the volume, but not the studs, not the people that are just crushing it, but a lot of the people that were doing well and are not doing as well. Those are the ones that really are frustrated and have to take a step back and ask themselves why. Are you doing the Joel work? Are you crushing it? Are you really, really doing that? And if you're not, that's on you.
And I'll tell you, if you're not, in every market from huge, Laz, Boston Metro, to pretty small, Kristen Ambos, okay, there is a Kristen or someone in one of those big markets that is literally going to do the work. They're going to outwork you. They're going to take you probably don't have relationships. They're going to take wherever your transactions are coming from and make those people their relationships. They're going to take those loans, and let me let you all know something. They're never giving them back. It doesn't matter if the rates drop to 3% tomorrow. You're not getting that back. That's over. I talk to agents every week somewhere in the country, and I'm telling you, they're over it. They've had it. Every transaction is very important to them. They are not working with dummy LOs anymore. Pretty much, they're done. Either the dummy LO got out of the business, or they're not working with that loan officer anymore. And those of you who have your cameras on, you can simply nod if you're getting saves every week. And my bet is there's James Allen nodding and Kristen Ambos nodding, because I know both you all are closing a lot of units right now. and I know you're getting saves every week. And I bet you're looking at those saves and you're going, wow, this isn't even a save. What did this loan officer do? Like, I don't even have to, I got to make, change two things. I got to recalculate these, two things. And boom, it's going right through. Laz, are you seeing that with your group? Because you would see it when you see those rushes, you seeing those saves coming in?
Yeah, for us, rushes, it's a system, right? 10% of all of our files are rushes. Sometimes It's a little bit higher. And a rush doesn't mean, oh my God, my hair's on fire. It means you've taken a loan from somewhere else and you need to get it done because you figured out that there isn't a guideline issue, or you don't have an issue on income. You don't have the variable income that people think they have the issue. You've talked to the underwriter up front. You know this deal is going to work, and you just need to get it through. That's normal. That's what you call the save. It's just, we call it a rush, but it's a rush to get, and you can rush conditions, you can rush the file, whatever you need to initial approval to get it done. Normal stuff. That's what we're saying. Can I ask you a question, Joel? I got to ask you a question though.
Yeah.
What are you, listen, I went through your crush group more than once. Everyone on this call has gone through your crush group, I'm assuming. Maybe.
No. There's lots of people that haven't, which is fine. Yeah.
Listen, we admittedly we're in a market that's challenging. What are you doing differently for people that have gone through your crush group? Because I hear you week in, work out. I love it, dude. We all love it. But what are you doing right now to help folks that are under your wing?
My one-on-one people, it's a lot of very deep conversations that really have to do with more running their business, and running their business through this market and what it's going to look like. And I'll be honest, Laz, we're having the conversations that you would expect me to be having that other loan officers might roll their eyes at. Our conversations are like, okay, let's get ready for May of 2024 when we close 60 loans, because I don't want your hair on fire. We're literally having those kinds of conversations because we know that's happening. We just know that is happening. We also, I had a whole bunch of requests. I think I talked about this a month ago, but we did create a new program called Crush Forward, but you have to be a Crush graduate. So it's not for everyone on this call, but if you're a graduate of Crush, we do have a new program, starts right after Labor Day, called Crush Forward, and it's pretty cool. And if you want more information on it, you could just email us, or it's right on the site. It's just a group for people to come together that are all sort of working the same plan, which is a grinding relationship-based plan. And it's a plan based on the fact that our job is to get referrals. Our job is not to buy loans. Our job is to deepen existing relationships and develop new ones from people that can refer us people that need loans. I mean, that's literally our job. And people that, practice that every single day are actually okay through this market. Are you writing way more lender letters than you're used to? Definitely. Are you maybe some of you on the call in smaller markets, maybe writing a letter for 4 of your different clients on one property where you're literally calling a listing agent, Kristen's laughing and saying, hey, it's Kristen, let me talk to you about all 4 of these deals, instead of just calling about one. Absolutely.
So the crush group is for people that have been through the crush. It's like, if I know there's some Fairway folks on here. You can do another crush group if you've been in a crush group.
Yeah, but it's a bigger. It's with all people that are working that system. It's a strong group of all top producers that are all working the same way. And pushing the same way. I mean, I think it's a hunker down time. What I see in 24 and 25 is I see less loan officers with way bigger market share is what I see. I mean, I don't see some of these little guys cruising around closing 2 and 3 loans a month able to last. I see some of these people whose faces I see on this call going from 30 loans to 50 loans, to 60 loans. They're providing that kind of service for their partners. Laz, you touched on something I just want to bring up. You said guidelines. I've talked about this all the time, and I really haven't gone hard on this in a while. And that is, if you're not a practitioner of your craft, if you really don't know what you're doing, and it's okay if you don't. You need to find someone that does. By the way, looking it up in all regs for 5 hours is not going to help you. You know how many times I see a loan officer look something up in all regs for 5 hours and still get it wrong because they were even looking it up wrong when they could have asked their manager or asked someone and gotten the right answer in about 2 minutes? Then you can go look it up in all regs if you feel like doing some light reading, no problem. But the reality of it is your production manager or someone, in your upline should be able to answer these questions. If you don't know what you're doing or don't feel like you really know what you're doing, and by the way, people, I'm a firm believer that until you close 1,000 purchase units, you actually really don't completely know what you're doing, because that's enough ways to screw a loan up. Literally. I mean, I've closed way more than that. And I know there's lots of ways to screw a loan up. You should not be upset or bashful or whatever about asking for help. The last thing you want is to nuke a loan and let one of these loan officers, one of these predatory loan officers, get their hands on that thing, get it approved, and then be in front of your agent partner the next day. You don't want that. Laz, I'm assuming your best people literally know their stuff. Gone are the crazy ones just throwing in a name and number, right?
It's the price of admission. If you don't know your stuff, our top people are studying guidelines 1 to 2 hours a day. It's part of what they do. They know their craft. I mean, that's it. That's what makes the difference. Beyond pursuing and deepening relationships that you teach people to do so well, it's the knowledge piece. That's the other side of it. And like you said, if you can't do it or you don't have the time to do it, you got to have someone on your team that understands that. We have a searchable all regs. It's called KnowledgeAll, which is like the Google of all regs. That's one way to go. But pick up a call, go to your underwriter, say, hey, will you do this? You got to know before you start that file or day 1 or 2, you got to be 100% certain it's going to fly. That's how you win these deals. That's how you win the save loans, the relationships. You get it done before it even starts.
Yeah. And that is a concept that some people, unfortunately, the bus has left the depot on. They just can't grasp that. And they're still handing in bad files. And then they're screaming and yelling, Laz, these are probably 74,000 of the 80,000 license that moved. They moved because their underwriting sucks.
That's super stressful. That's no way to have your career, Joel. That's a hope and a prayer. I mean, dude, I just want to know. I need that confidence. I don't have confidence if I don't know in the beginning. If you can't tell me this deal is going to work and I can't go to my referral partner, my best realtor, and say you're done, that's a problem, right? Then you're not doing your job right.
And Laz, the loan officers are still doing it. They're still doing it. So I'm looking at the clock. I just want to not rephrase, but bring up what Laz said at the beginning so everyone hears this at the end. Positive attitude. And I want to pile on that. By the way, your job is to be a beacon of positivity all day, every day. If you're posting bad crap on social media that looks like a whiner, call me a wambulance, wah! Okay, stop doing that. That's not good for anyone. And by the way, your agent partners don't like it. Okay, you should be talking to everyone. I say this to agents every week. I'm going to say this to you all as well. At the end of the day, if you don't need hot water with lemon, you did not do your job correctly. Email is pretty much dead. Texting is on a short way out the door right now with the FCC changes. You should be on the phone all day, whether you're talking to new deals or whether you're talking to your partners or whether you're just talking to one of your partners about how tough the market is. Okay, it's fine. Everybody needs that right now. There's no bot or AI that is going to replace that right now, everyone. It's not going to happen. Okay, you don't have to worry about that as long as you're doing the work. So remember, this is part of your job. This is actually part of your job. Laz, any final words? By the way, say hi to my boy Rusty. I see him in the background. Laz, any final words?
I'm gonna leave you with this. I sent this out. We're a big quote kind of company, Joel. We have daily stuff. Many companies are like that, but sent this out to my team over the weekend, and it says 1 year, right? And we look at last year. Each day we wake up is a new start. We can compare yesterday to today. We can compare last month to this month. We can compare last year to this year. With each comparison, we have a choice to view how things may have seemed better in the past versus today, or how much better things are today versus the past. When you look at your company, when you look at your business, when you look at your team, choose to see the positive pruning, the cutting away of dead branches, teammates, making space for the new buds, new growth. It's new passion, new energy, forward motion, and be grateful for the lessons that led us into a better place. Just my thoughts and going into this week as we move forward.
Now, it's a great quote. Everybody, big smile on your face. All week this week, we are in the greatest business there ever was. There should be no whining whatsoever. We should be pushing forward, grinding, crushing. Let's go, everybody. Thank you for spending a half hour with me. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Thank you, Laz.
Cheers.